Alright, it's time to get some work done on the Quest game project. Last time we designed the game title, viewable on that screen, in Inkscape. And now it's time to get working on the rest of the models that we're going to be needing for this project. We've got quite a few to do, and since we've already made models in Blender for the previous game project, I figured that we wouldn't have to go step by step like we did then, and we could just kind of speed through it, get these models done a bit quicker. So that's what I've done. I have sped up the video from Blender and have compressed down about 3 or 4 hours of work to what you're about to see. I will be commenting over it, and yeah, let's just go ahead and dive into it. Alright, so here we go. We're in Blender. This is the latest version of Blender. And we're going to start by attempting to get our landscape terrain file built. I just want a little hill in the middle for the park area. Not too happy with what I'm getting here. Just experimenting with things like I usually do before I'm ready to go to the final version. So let's try getting a new plane in. Let's get it subdivided enough. And maybe something like that, maybe not. Just testing ideas out here to see if anything looks like it'll work for me. And then I need to get a little like roadway made around the park. So maybe, I don't know though, maybe. Let's see. Let's flatten all of this out and pull it down. Get it all selected. And maybe. Nah. What I should really do is the little mountain cliffs. Get that done first. And then go from there. So let's get the cliff face built. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think that'll work. Get the other side made here. Alright, now just to fill in the gap here and make some little peaks, as it were. And a third one. Yeah, that looks alright to me. Having just completed the cliffs here, time to hide them and move on to the next part. And I'm thinking we'd work on the forest this time, using some path curves to get more interesting looking tree branches made. So let's get this cylinder scaled down and then fitted to the curve. Want to add in a few more subdivisions there, and that's looking good. Let's make 3 of them. So there's our branch set. Now we need to connect them like so, and then begin working on the actual trunk. Throw in a few subdivisions, make sure all the normals are facing in the right direction, and then do the top of the trunk. Get this done, and there we go. But it's, well, let's add in our roots, because that's something we definitely need on a tree. Alright, that looks pretty good. Fill in the bottom faces on everything. And yes, I did do a subdivision surface to make everything look a bit better. And now we're doing a decimate, which removes some of the subdivisions, so you're not dealing with so many faces per model, but it will keep the same general structure. And now we're getting our little forest area built, which will enclose our town along with the cliffs. So now that we've got that done, we need to do the actual green part of the trees, the leaves. And I'm not doing individual stuff because you're never really going to see these a whole lot up close. So just one big block for everything will do it. Nearly got this one done on the bottom, now on the top as well. Just a little bit further to go. There we go, and now we can adjust things a little bit. That looks all right to me. Now we can duplicate this and rotate it over. And there we go. We have ourselves some trees and foliage. Having the trees done means that we can move on to the terrain file. And now that I've got a better idea of how everything else is laid out, we can actually do the terrain file properly. So let's get the plane put in, subdivided up correctly, and get to sculpting. That looks okay. Then again, let's try for something that doesn't look overly odd. Get that little circular roadway put in, and just flatten everything down and scale this in a bit. Get it all selected first. There we go. I think that is just about where it needs to be. Yeah, that looks good. Now we need to deal with all this extra in back and around in the areas that we're not going to be able to get to. So that looks all right. Now let's make it easier to have a solid line going, not so much the jaggedy. And we'll take off some of this too. just get these filled in all the way around. And take these off as well. Just trying to reduce how many polygons we have total, because we don't need all that many there. Now, same thing around back here. Get them filled in. Just about there. Alright, now to get that entire solid edge, and we're going to extrude it up and out a little bit to give a barrier at the end, at the edges there. And now we want to make it a square surface, because that's what the most of your terrain files are, square or rectangular. And we're trying to make this something we can turn into a terrain file. And therefore we need to get this into as square a shape as possible. And doing it this way has made it where we don't have so many polygons. It's a way of reducing the overall amount and then getting the needed shape built back. And that's what it looks like now. Can probably work a little bit more on that third mountain peak, make it look a little bit better there. So next we're going to be working on buildings. So we've got the mountain cliff face done. We've got the forest trees built and the terrain file. Let's see, what do we have left? Oh yes, like I said, the buildings. And as you can see, I've got the layouts for each put on the map there. First one we're going to be working with is the town hall. And I'm starting without realizing I need to have everything set up for, without having the model set up in the right spot. So let's get that cleared up, and now we can get back to actually working on it. There we go. So now we're going to basically be doing the front of the building, and at the same time the top. I want to get the roof built, and at the start of this we're not focusing on the details, we're just doing the main parts. Want to get everything roughed in first, and now we will actually go in and start building around the structure. So here we start with this little out face thing. Get it moved into position. Now we'll do the side parts of the same design element. Move those into position, get them flipped around the right way. And now we've got to get the two parts lined up together so we can merge the two. Got that done on one side. Now we can move it over. Now we can duplicate it over on the other. Having done that, we can drop some vertices down to make edges, so we can actually start connecting everything and putting faces in. Get the doors and windows on that bottom level put in, and now we can start putting faces in. And this is a fairly straightforward process, as it should be. Just keep putting the faces in. adding vertices where needed as we go. So now it's time to do the side, and the side just has one window on the bottom area, so we'll just do it that way. Copy that front window over, put in some more vertices so we have connecting points, and just keep going like we're doing here. There we go. So that's one side, and now we'll just do the same on the other. Copy the window shape over and get the faces put in. Nothing hard about it. Finish up the back of this section. There we go. Now we need to get rid of this portion for the windows on the upper area, upper floor. We will go ahead and extrude the ones at the bottom, including the door. And now we're on to the next part. Just getting things evened out. Extruded out as well, I should say. Do the same thing here on this side. Just want it out a little bit. Give it a little bit of depth to it. And same thing there. So now that we have that, we can start with the upper windows, which are thankfully all the same shape. Get them placed, and then we will do the joining to the actual building, like so. Don't need that top now, and we need to subdivide this section so we can actually get enough connecting points to finish up the faces there. And now we'll do the frames and extrude in. And there we go. We'll just fill in the faces there. And let's make this, give it a little bit more look to it. All right, that looks pretty good. Fill in these. And then these. All right, so that's the front. Now we've got the side to do, and it has two windows on each of the two sides, none on the back. And we want to get it positioned properly, and then move it in. And now we need to adjust a little bit. So we'll use the knife tool to put in some new vertices at each of the joining points, because it's going to be not flush with that outer edge. So we have to figure out how we're doing it, and looks like we've got it. Yeah. And now do the same thing that we did before with the upper section of the roof. Go ahead and get that a little bit tended to there. All right, now we've got the other window that we need to do, so we will duplicate it and move it over, and then start adjusting things once more. Using the knife tool to get our vertices put where we need them. And then finish filling everything back in. I didn't do that quite right. Let's try that again. There we go. That's better. Now just fill in the in-betweens, and we've got that section pretty much tended to. Let's just finish it off here. So that entire section of wall is done. Just a little bit more to go. There we go. And now lastly, the roof section. Done. All right. Now to do the remaining side, and at first I thought we could just eliminate or delete and mirror, but we've got too much odd geometry that would be problematic, so we'll just duplicate the two windows and remove the faces that were there and fill them back in as we're doing now. Not a hard thing at all. Just takes a bit of fast thinking to realize that that's what needs to be done, and then to do it. Get the roof section here tended to, or not the roof section, but the upper section of the wall above the windows, because we're not at the roof yet. But now we fill this side in, and now the inside portion there. There we go. Hey, we are just about done. Now let's do the roof part right there, and now we can finish off the back here. I'm not doing anything on the back because you're not supposed to be able to go back there in the game project. So why use valuable polygons for something you're never going to see? Let's get the stairs built now, and that should do it. And I want to point out that I know it looks like I have not got everything figured out, that it should be a bit wider than the doorway. And indeed, at first I had forgotten that, but we do fix that right here. Get that stretched out to the way it should be, put in some new vertices there, and patch that up. There we go. Now, I realize that I kind of want to have a extended floor look to it. So that's what we're doing here. Get that on both sides here. Just stretch that a little bit more there, and now to extrude it all the way back. There we go. Fill in these faces after making sure we have enough vertices, of course. And same thing on the other side here. All right, now to do the posts that the building is resting upon. And this, I just figured 5 sets would do it. Now to fill in all the vertices that need to be filled in on the bottom, which are a lot, but we get them filled in pretty quickly. Just a few more at this point. There we go. So that is pretty much done for the main part. Now the chimneys. Let's get them positioned right. And then scaled in. Add in a few loop slides to get the shape defined. And we want it joined up to the roof. Make it easier, so just get it in position. There, and now we're going to actually have it as one large model. And since we're doing that, we need everything lined up properly. And I like having it offset, one a little bit higher than the other. So I'm going with that. Just fill these in, and I realized that I needed to redo that other side a little bit there at the top. And now I think we're pretty much finished. Let's just get this model moved into position. And I think it probably could do with being scaled up a little bit. So we'll do that. Yeah, something like that. All right, I think that's enough for this session. We'll have to pick things up again next time because we still have quite a few models to make, starting with more building models and then the character models on top of that. So we've got plenty left to do. Thinking this will probably be more than 2 parts because that's an awful lot to get done. But we'll see. Alright everyone, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, feel free to give me a like and maybe subscribe. And if you want to go a little bit further and you want to see your name in lights in the credits here, feel free to go to my Patreon and contribute. Till next time, everyone.